I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Vinod Bidarkoppa, who is the former Executive Vice President and CTO of Walmart International. Vinod, we're honored to have you in New Zealand. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
First question for you. You've just given our international keynote address about accelerating enterprise outcomes from around the world and the changing role of a technology leader in an AI-driven world. Can you summarize the key points from your talk for those who were not able to be here?
Happy to. I think the world is changing at an unprecedented speed. If you look at the waves of technology that have happened in the last 30 years, from the mainframe to client server to the cloud, mobile, the cloud, and the three waves of AI between traditional machine learning to generative AI and now agentic AI, there's been a huge compression of the time window in which these technologies have changed. So I think at this point, I think most of the organizations are faced with how do they cope with the change, the rate of change of the change in technology, and really bring those to bear in bringing those better experiences to the customers and to the associates, and finding value from those technology investments for the business as well as making lives better for the customers. So it's a really interesting time for most of the technology leaders.
Fantastic, thank you. Much of our CIO Innovation Summit is about scaling, and obviously with Walmart, it doesn't get much larger. How did you approach the challenge of getting a company as large as Walmart AI ready?
So as I shared at the keynote address, I think fundamentally you need to be thinking about how can you approach this with a platform-centric thinking. The one example I shared was the framework of a chassis for a vehicle manufacturer. What is core? And then you innovate on the core. For example, if it's a vehicle, then you have the suspension, the transmission, and the steering wheel. That's the core of a vehicle, right? And then you can adopt the same chassis to make it an SUV, or make it a sedan, or a sports utility, or a minivan, and so on and so forth. So a similar analogy, and you can think about how do you create the common core components for an e-commerce product platform, for a marketplace platform, for a supply chain platform, for a merchandising platform, and then find what the 20% or 30% nuances are for respective markets. So that way you can not only keep the cost down, but you can go much faster and bring the same great experiences for all your customers around the world.
Great stuff, thank you. What was the single greatest challenge you faced in your time as CTO of Walmart International, and what did you learn from it?
I think it's probably hard to say there's one single challenge. I would say this companies would have grown through acquisitions, companies would have grown sometimes organically, and a lot of these are really bespoke solutions, and in some cases there's a lot of legacy that is that you inherit in each of these businesses. So trying to find the right balance between because you're literally changing tires on a moving car, right? And then there are people associated with it, and who have the business practice, who have really grown with the company, have conversant with the business processes for a period of time. So you're trying to change the culture of the organization, trying to change the technology and the organizational construct all at the same time is a challenge, right? So bringing people along the journey and making people equally important as much as technology, and then helping them train and uplift and help them understand that they make a difference. At the end of the day, it's the people plus AI is magic. It's not one or the other.
Fantastic, thank you very much. What do you see as the major issues in the ANZ region specifically, and how do CIOs here need to adapt and to prepare?
Yeah, what I see in the limited time that I've been here, there's a lot of reliance on outsourced outsourced resources. There's a lot of reliance on, obviously, products that are bought, right? So finding the right balance between the build and the buy, trying to build your own workforce, investing in your resources, having good entry-level programs and mentoring them, because you're in it for the long run. So I always say, if merchandising is a core competency for a retailer, so is technology, right? So think about it, technology is increasingly becoming a core competency that drives differentiation for your business. And then what does that mean in terms of how you need to rethink about, implementing technology, building the right kind of talent within the organization, and helping them grow with the organization.
Great, fantastic. Last question, what's next for you, Vinod?
Well, great. I mean, look, I think I've really been fortunate, like I said, to have had the opportunity to work with some of the world's best companies across airlines, healthcare, and retail. I'm enjoying meeting new people, speaking at events, being an advisor to some CEOs around the world. So I'll continue to do that. So this is a new phase for me, and we'll see where it takes us.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, all the best, and enjoy your time in New Zealand. It's a pleasure having you here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Best.